welcome back to another craft video. It is finally the holiday season, which also means DIY season. You can DIY almost anything and personalize almost anything from home decor to gifts. So for this video, we're not gonna get too ahead of ourselves and go jump into Christmas yet, but we're gonna acknowledge Thanksgiving for a little bit. However, you can take this craft and really turn it into an all year round craft. So today we're going to be learning how to make sublimation napkins. Sublimation napkins is a great way to personalize your decor or even your table setting for Thanksgiving. So you're just going to need some napkins you have at home, sublimation paper, and sublimation ink. It is that easy. So let's go right ahead into the materials we will be using for this project.
So here are our materials. The first thing we're going to grab is our sublimation transfer paper from TeckWrap. It's 120 grams. This is the best sublimation paper I have used thus far, especially when compared to really strong competitors. Then we're just going to grab our napkins. These are pretty standard. They're pretty rough, and I like that for this project. They're pretty sturdy. And then we're going to grab some butcher paper. Butcher paper is very essential because we want to make sure that whatever surface we are pressing on, the ink does not bleed through. Because napkins are absorbent, it is very likely that it's going to bleed through, and we just want to protect our surfaces. And then of course we're going to go ahead and grab our heat presses. Whether you have a handheld like mine or the machine, either work great for this project. Before we start designing, we want to make sure we know what surface area we have to work with. So I'm going to bring out my acrylic ruler to measure out the napkins I will be using today. I'm going to just leave it 1 inch away so you guys can see the numbers on my ruler, so it looks like I am working with a 5x5 napkin. So once you're ready, we're gonna head over onto Canva. I love using Canva because of all the images and templates they have readily available for you to use. So for this one, this is one example that I like because all you need to do is go ahead in the middle and add your last name or add the last name of a relative. After playing around with this design, I decided I wanted something a little more festive, so I went ahead and searched Thanksgiving under the elements on Canva, and I found these very beautiful, bright, vibrant images. So I'm gonna go ahead, and while still keeping the element of monograms, I went ahead and just grabbed the letter S. And the best thing about Canva is if you find a letter, you will most likely find the same style with different letters. So I went ahead and followed the same idea that I have with the previous design. My other favorite feature about Canva is not only can you change the color of your text, but you can also change the color of the images if it allows you. Coming over to my sublimation printer, one of my favorite things about the TeckWrap sublimation transfer paper is how easily identifiable it is to see the back and the front of the paper. Many times other companies don't have any indicators and it's very hard to tell which side you need to print on. My favorite feature about Canva when it comes to printing is the ability to have it printed in a professional setting. So we're going to go ahead to PDF print, and you're going to want to make sure you want to click best for professional printing in order to get very crisp printing results. And before you hit print, you always want to make sure that you're flipping your image horizontally. Now the printer may ask you before or after printing, but as you can see, Smith is right side when we flip the paper around. And now we're going to go ahead and cut. It doesn't really matter if there is white left over on the side of the images, that's just going to blend right into the napkin. let's go ahead and grab that napkin and align it with the piece of paper that we just cut. As you can see, it is nearly a perfect fit. There is some of the paper extending outside of the napkin, but that's totally fine. It actually helps us a lot with making sure our press looks seamless. Coming over to the mat, you want to make sure you lay that first piece of butcher paper down. Then we lay our napkin and then our sublimation transfer paper right on top. For this design, it is fairly easy to get it aligned and we don't really have to worry about anything being completely straight. One item I forgot to mention for our materials is heat-resistant tape. I love using this dispenser, it makes it so much easier to cut out pieces. This is very useful to make sure that the image does not move when pressing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach it to the paper and attach it to the butcher paper. Now let's go ahead and grab our heat press. I thought that I had set mine at 370, that's why I went ahead and pressed at 370, but this is a trial and error part of the process. Totally depends on the materials you're using, the heat distribution of your machine, so 370 and 380 worked well for me. And as you can see, you can really see the design through the paper. This is a great indication that it was ready. This little corner looks great. Let's go ahead and peel the rest off, and oh my goodness, it came out so good. And thankfully the butcher paper was down because even though it didn't bleed through, the excess edges did get onto the butcher paper. And look at how there's no more ink on the transfer paper. The napkin didn't change in color, it just looks a little different because of the lighting, but everything looks great. Thank you guys so much for following along with this tutorial. I love how it turned out and I can't wait to see the results that you guys get with your own sublimation napkins using TeckWrap's sublimation transfer paper.